Originally released in 2014, Yacht Club Games' Shovel Knight has become an indie success story for the ages. 5 years later, there are already 3 games in the Shovel Knight saga, with 2 more in development, multiple Shovel Knight amiibo, countless Shovel Knight cameos and appearances in other games, and the studio has even started publishing games. Shovel Knight so far has been released on a total of 12 platforms and has sold over 2.5 million copies. We were lucky enough to spend some time and chat with Yacht Club Games' Alec Faulkner at PAX West. We asked Alec for game dev advice for new and aspiring developers. We talk about what makes Shovel Knight's character design so compelling, and also talked about what they look for when deciding to publish a game. Let's get into it. We are Ask Gamedev, and these are game development secrets from the Shovel Knight devs, Yacht Club Games. Welcome back. We make videos on how to elevate your game development and inspire others. If after watching this video you want to continue the game dev conversation, check out the video description for a link to our Discord server.
I'm Alec Faulkner. I'm a designer for Yacht Club Games. So that means putting the levels together, making enemies, making bosses, and working on all the different fun parts of it. And we've been working on this game for a little over a year, Shovel Knight Dig, with our friends at Nitrome, who are over there. And it's a cool collaboration, and we're really excited to show it off. I would hope that if you've been following Yacht Club Games for a little bit, the one lesson that you could take from this grand adventure of making Shovel Knight Treasure Trove would be to not overscope things and to cut things down. We've been working on one game and free updates for it for like 6 years now. It's been fun to like expand the Shovel Knight universe in so many ways, but I would say to an aspiring new dev, don't do that. It's a bad idea. You should cut your scope down as low as possible and make the coolest thing you can with the resources you have. You want to make sure you're like communicating very well with your team. We've obviously like wasted time not being able to solidify an idea or like redoing work. A lot of our workflow usually is based around the idea of like doing things once and getting everyone involved. The way the company works is we usually talk about every single decision. Everyone who has any buy-in is enabled to like come and participate in that conversation. And so we try really hard to only make features one time, and we try really hard to keep the game moving forward in one direction. Some days I like don't even use my computer because we're just talking about stuff for the whole day instead of actually making it. But I think having that level of communication between your team and making sure everyone is like really on the same page is super important. Download Unity, download GameMaker, figure something out, make like a clone game. I think that's like really helpful to get going. First game I made was like a balloon fight clone. That's how everybody starts, right? Follow some tutorials and just make something, right? I wanted something that was like simple enough that I could get going on. And it's just like things colliding and a point meter, the score goes up and nothing else. And that's like a good place to start. Asteroids is also a really great thing because it's just like instantiating some projectiles, they move and your points go up when they hit things. And that's like the entire game. Just like starting slow and small with something like that I think is really valuable.
Click up here.
Yeah, right here to learn more about that. It's not that different, to be honest. We have a bigger booth, as you can see. That's a big plus, that's nice. We moved into a nicer office, but the day-to-day is pretty much exactly the same. We still go and eat at McDonald's. We're not that different. We still all swivel our chairs around and talk about the same dumb things in a tiny room. It's not that different, but I wouldn't want it any other way. We all flip our chairs around and we're like, well, we can't move on until everyone's happy, so let's like figure this out. And yeah, it's really slow. Yeah, we've been working on one game for like 6 years, but at the end of it, we get a product that everyone is like definitely really proud of. On bad days, it is nightmarish, but on good days, it's great. Why? Just because that's something everyone should do. So like, why not start with us? Having information like that available is only a resource to like everybody. And that happens so much that we get cited in like other YouTube videos. It's like, how much does it really cost to make a game? Because there's not a ton of information about that. And I think a lot of the times that's really misleading for people too. Like the Kickstarter for Shovel Knight was like, what, like $300,000 or something? But we've spent way more than that working on the game, and even the original one blew that budget out of the water. So I think having that information available is super important so people can set expectations realistically. We do our best to provide it. I want to do another one of those pretty soon where we update on all the new platforms and how everything's been doing. But it's tricky sometimes because sometimes you don't got permission to share some of those details. So we do our best. A lot of that comes down to the silhouette. So you want to be able to recognize that character even if they're in different lighting, even if they're in a different art style. The horns are there just for that purpose, so that he's a recognizable silhouette. And just for the gameplay too, if you're just scanning the screen and you're like not super paying attention, it's very easy to find where he is. So I think that's half of making good character design, and the other half is making it simple, right? NES games are great at that because they're tiny and you can't see anything. So the details have to be big and bold and noticeable. That's why so many iconic character designs have like stayed from the NES era, is because just out of necessity you have to create a character that's like easily identifiable and simple and like easy to draw and small. That and having like a good lineup too. Especially with Shovel Knight, we wanted a diverse cast of bosses, from like really tiny ones to really huge ones that are imposing. Putting all that and planning it out ahead of time I think helps a lot. Like even before we finalize them all, we're like, what areas are they going to be in, and what color palettes are those areas going to be in? Are we sure we've got like a red villain and a blue one, and we're like hitting a lot of good zones and there's not overlap? Do they all have different personalities? Do they all have different silhouettes? Are they all like totally as unique from one another as they can possibly be, and have they been pushed as much in their direction as they can be? That's like really important to us when we're making any character. In Shovel Knight, the art is usually what's like bringing it all together though. They all have an imposing like idol pose. They all seem like bosses when you enter the boss room. And I think that, and just the pixel art and all the little things we do to make the art style match, I think pulls all that together so that the Order of No Quarter is like a fitting crew and not just a bunch of weird misfits. I can't even get close. I was looking the other day for a list because I couldn't keep track of them all. I was playing Bloodstained the other day and Shovel Knight was just there and I forgot. So it's gotten really out of hand at this point. But it's always so fun and exciting to do those sorts of things because Shovel Knight is a character, I think, with a really recognizable and extendable character design. You know, the sprite in game is so short and squat and cute, but like in the character art and the promotional stuff and the manuals, he can be perceived as like a big manly buff dude if you want. I think having characters like that can work for a lot of different goals is fun. And so seeing him when he's 7 feet tall and Bloodstained or whatever is like always really, really interesting and neat. Smash Bros. Yeah, that was just a dream come true. Hearing about that and getting that going was a highlight of my game dev career for sure. I think even beyond just making games ourselves, the goal of Yacht Club Games is to see games get made. And there's only a dozen or so of us actually working on Shovel Knight. There's only so much we can do on a day-to-day basis. And so we thought we had a lot of ability to help other people out, both like financially and just with advice and stuff. We felt that there's a lot that we could offer as publishers that other people don't, and that we'll play your game, we'll give really detailed feedback, and we'll have a lot of opinions about how to make it better. And I think all of our partners so far have really appreciated that insight. We'll go in a room and we'll play recent builds from all of our publisher projects, and we'll give really in-depth feedback or notes or drawings and ideas for them. For a lot of those, like Cyber Shadow, it's a solo developer too. And so I think it's easy to get in your own head. And when you're just working on one thing for so long, and having a community or a publisher that's like really involved in the process can be really helpful sometimes to get the game moving forward and to identify issues or areas that could be improved that you may not have noticed. I just saw it on Twitter and we were like, this dude looks like he knows how to make a cool NES game, we should get talking. And so we sent an email and here we are. There's definitely more projects too that we're like not showing here that aren't quite ready yet. There's a lot cooking. But we're just looking for games that we would kind of want to play. The core of the Yacht Club design philosophy, I think, boils down to a really tiny attention span. Like, all the games I want to play and all the games I want to see us publish are ones that don't bore you and are exciting every 5 seconds for a cool, new, different way. That's been a natural fit for arcadey, retro-y kind of games so far, but we're totally not opposed to having, more modern-looking things or 3D games or any of that. So our ears are open, and we're always looking for new projects.
Thanks again to Alec and the whole team at Yacht Club Games for the great advice, and of course, bringing us Shovel Knight. The Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is available now. Visit yachtclubgames.com for more info and to keep up on their upcoming titles, Shovel Knight Dig and Cyber Shadow. For more Ask Gamedev, check out this video on the best booths at PAX or this video on the cost of making games.